And now, introducing the founder of Carroll Consultancy Group, Timothy Carroll. For the last 25 years, Timothy has worked with world-class leaders, their teams, and elite athletes around the world, dramatically developing people and performance. Timothy is a consultant, executive coach, sought-after speaker, and the author of The Evolutionary Leader. Prior to founding Carroll Consultancy, Timothy represented New Zealand in barefoot water skiing at 4 World Championships and attended the Beijing Olympics as a mental coach. Timothy currently resides with his family in the Bahamas.
Hello there, how you doing? And I understand that we've had a little bit of challenge with the sound there this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And we've got others coming in and joining us. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Give us a thumbs up if the sounding through is good for you right now. That'd be great to get. Hello from Florida, Craig Bradshaw, good to see you. We've got Kelly from Calgary. We've got Mr. Pole. Hello, where are you coming in from? Give us a little message here where you're coming from. And most important, give us some feedback on the sound. We want to know if your sound is working or you can hear us well. We could definitely hear some challenges with the sound when it was coming in with the music and the introduction. So thumbs up if you can hear me well. I'd like to see the feedback there. Give me some thumbs up. Hello from Ghana. Lovely to see you there, Raul. Wonderful to see you. We're going to be kicking off today very soon. My outcome for you today is to provide as much value as humanly possible. We're going to be looking at how can you move out of chaos into control, really take things to the next level in your business. And we've got a thumb up, Raul. That's great. The sound is coming through nice and loud. That's nice and clear. That's excellent. We're not going to be pitching anything to you today. We are actually going to be giving away some gifts to you. My goal and my team's goal today is to contribute and to give you some things that you're going to be able to take away from today and apply immediately. But not just that, we're also going to be giving away one-to-one coaching sessions with my team and really supporting you immediately in being able to go to the next level. We are moving into some tough times and we're to give today to you. So this is not going to be your typical webinar or your typical masterclass. We are definitely going to be interacting with you, and there'll be exercises for you to do and things that you can learn immediately be able to apply. So I encourage you. How many here have got a notepad in front of them or a pen or the computer open? Definitely take notes today because you're going to be able to capture some juicy stuff and apply that straight away into your business, into your own life. There's going to be practical part to this whole presentation today, and we will definitely be challenging you to engage us in that practical part. So who's for that? Give us a thumbs up. Who's acting? Who's in for playing full out today? I'm looking forward to that. So how did I get to be standing here supporting you? My story. Some of you know me and some of you don't. So I will briefly share my story with you before we get stuck into the real value of today. And nice to see you from Dubai. We've got Dubai coming in here. That's awesome. Also from Kenya. That's great to see you here today. Wonderful stuff. So for me, it all started with a dream. Many years ago. I'm only, 27 now? No, many years ago, I was learning. The dream was for me to become the best barefoot water skier in New Zealand. And that's right. I'm from New Zealand, born and bred in New Zealand. And so barefoot water skiing for me was my big passion. And here in the next slide, you'll be able to see where it all started for me, basically, as we shift to the next slide. There it is. And so here you can see my family. There's my dad. And this masterclass here is in honor of him today. He's not so well, so we're sending our love out to my dad. And here's some lovely pictures here of me and my family. And so I learned to barefoot water ski when I was 11, 12 years of age. and went on to compete. And as you can see in the next slide coming up here, as we move swiftly through them, we're going to be able to really see that what the problem for me was is that I came up across adversity. Adversity was massive for me. I broke my arm when I was 12. I blew out my knee when I was 16 playing rugby. And all of this really taught me a massive lesson. And that lesson is never, ever, ever give up. How many people here have learned that in their life, or who have applied that to their business, to their life? Because right now we're moving into an economic winter that's going to be super, super tough for a lot of people. The squeeze is on, inflation is through the roof, prices are high, and the cost of living is going up through the roof. But you've got to apply the attitude of never, ever, ever give up. An entrepreneurial attitude to life, right? So, yep, we've got Marie coming in. She says she can't hear anything. Marie, just make sure you got that sound turned up there, and give us a thumbs up if the rest of you can hear us. Hello from South Africa. Nice to see you. Tracy's got 100%. Thank you, Tracy. We're good to go. So as we move forward, basically, I ended up water skiing for New Zealand, and barefoot water skiing for New Zealand, competing in 4 world championships. Great, Marie, you got the sound, great to see. 4 world championships, and competed, at the top level, at the world level. And moving forward, it was a lot of hard work to get there. But I found myself in a leadership, thrown into a leadership role early on. And that happened because it was all about me teaching the New Zealand team the haka. How many people, give us a thumbs up here if you've heard of the haka before, the New Zealand Māori Challenge. Yep. The New Zealand All Blacks have made that famous, the world champions in rugby. Not right now, they're the world champions, but they were. And so leading the haka was a big part of the sport, where we'd challenge the other teams at the world championships. But where it all really came together for me was promoting some of the world's best leaders and the best public speakers, the best authors and the best trainers. And here it is, some of my mentors back in Sydney in the 90s, and I was promoting these incredible people. And it was here that I fell in love, really, with wanting to be able to serve and support and help people to achieve their goals. And so we've been now working for 20 plus years around the world. And we work with incredible companies all over the world, and elite sports teams. And you'll see some of them come up here. Some of the companies that we're luckily enough able to work with: the Swedish Federation in golf, Swedish PGA, some elite hockey teams. You name it, we've worked with them, and it's just a privilege and an honor to be able to do that. So super, super good. Professional athletes is something that is a passion of mine. And so 20% of my time I'm working with professional athletes. And we've worked with elite football players and goalkeepers through to the Swedish Olympic equestrian team in 2008, where we went to Hong Kong and worked with them. So that's a little bit about how we have been really taking things forward, and my little story here to give you a bit of background on me. 2016, I wrote my book, The Evolutionary Leader. And if you want to email us at support@Carroll Consultancy, we will definitely get a copy of that for you. How many people here would like a free copy of that book? Told you we're going to be giving some things away today. So drop us an email, and we'll definitely get one of those off to you. So let's start. This is all about you today. All about you. And we want to focus in on what is the big challenge for you. What is the big challenge, the biggest challenge that you're facing either at work or in your life or in your role as a leader? What is the big challenge that is really blocking you or supporting you in feeling like you're stuck, or et cetera, et cetera. So I want you to write it down in the chat here, and share some of the challenges that you're facing, some of the typical problems that I know that leaders face when I am working with doing executive coaching, etc. is that they have a massive problem with work-life balance. So they're having a lot of trouble keeping things in balance between work, family life, career, health and fitness, etc. And so, yeah, totally challenged with that. Another one is getting the best out of their people. But what are you experiencing? What are some of the challenges that you are experiencing? Put them in the chat and have a look at that. I know that the next slide shows it very graphically. When you're in your head, you are dead. When you're in your head, you're dead. Too much thinking, too much mind, too much stress. And so if you're experiencing some of these challenges that we just talked about, or you're experiencing some of the things that are going on that are really blocking you from moving forward, then we want to offer to you our first gift. And we're going to reinforce this as we move forward. And so feel free to click on the link below, and we are going to give you a one-to-one coaching session with my team for free. You will get 20 to 30 minutes of time with my team, and they're going to work on you with the things that are blocking you, right? The things that are preventing you. And we're going to give that to you for free, because today we're all about contribution. It's all about giving and serving you to help you to be the best that you can be. So who's up for a free coaching session? Awesome. Awesome. Let's see it. Let's see it. Please just click on the link and we can bring the link up again. You'll see that link come up again as we move forward. Click on the link and you can actually book your time with my team immediately. So really looking forward to that. So, I remember way back, when was it? Wow, way back in my first World Championships, I was in Melbourne in Australia, and I had not competed in such a big tournament before. And I was young. I was only 18 years of age. It's competing in my first World Championships. And what happened is my nerves came up and took over me. How many people here have had an experience like that, where their state has completely owned them rather than them owning their state, right? The question is are you in charge of your state, or is your state in charge of you? And so I had a story, a really terrible experience, where I became so nervous and I was like completely, really blocked when I was going into a competition, to the World Championships. And it was a big challenge for me. I had massive anxiety and what's called performance anxiety. And being young, did not know how to deal with it back then. What I like to do is really share with you an example here of someone who loses their state, someone who is actually triggered. How many people here have been triggered before, right? That happens in business, happens in your private life. But here's an example of someone in a very public place who actually got triggered and completely lost control of their state. Let's see it.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
So we're definitely having trouble with the sound at my end. Yep. So not at my end, but at the support of my team. So their bandwidth is definitely not happening, and unfortunately, we're unable to stream videos from my support team behind the scenes here. So we're gonna cut to the chase. Bottom line there is that we were showing a video of Will Smith. How many people here remember Will Smith at the Academy Awards? And he lost it, got up, slapped the presenter in the face, walked back and sat down and had an emotional outburst And here we can see, Will Smith's apology. Bottom line is he said he reacted emotionally, right? What is the opposite of reaction? The opposite of reaction is response, the ability to respond. Response able, the ability to respond. So what we want to learn today, and one of the things we're going to be really sharing with you today, is how can you own your emotion instead of your emotion owning you? How can you be in charge of your state instead of your state being in charge of you? And how can you take full responsibility for your state? Because your state or behavior is dependent on your state. And how you behave determines goals. So we've got to get people in the seat. And this information is not shared at school. This is not learned at school. So let's go straight to the opportunity. I want to have a look at but before we do, we're going to just quickly say, what states do you get in when things are chaotic for you? And I want you to write it down, either on your notes or in the chat. Become aware of what is the negative state that you get in when things are chaotic, when things are out of control. How does that affect your state? What state do you move into? Into a state of fight, flight, for example, into a state of anger, into a state of fear, of confusion. What are the states, the negative states that you get into that happen when things are out of control or chaotic, etc., etc.? Write them down. If you want to share some on the Zoom here, on the chat, feel free to do that. So we can see that we want to move you into exasperation. Andrew, super good one. Exasperation, pretty negative state. So what we want to do is we want to move you into the opportunity. So what is the opportunity? Why are you here today? What is it that you want out of the next 40 minutes that we have together here? And let's have a look at that. And I want you to get very clear on that. Write it down. Maybe you want to write it down in the chat. Thank you. We've got frustration as a negative state. But let's have a look at what you want out of today. Always start with the end in mind. What's the focus? What is it that you want? Where are we heading? Write it down in the chat, get super clear. And I had an amazing experience when I was in control of my emotions. Maybe you have too. And I made the world jump final. So there's 3 events in water skiing. There's tricks, slalom, and jump. And I made the final of jump in my first world championships. And I had learned from a friend of mine in between the time that I was super stressed to the time that, like earlier in the competition, a friend of mine from Australia came up to me, and he had been working with the Australian sport, and he showed me a technique that I'm going to share with you a little bit later. But what happened is it aligned all of my nerves, all of my butterflies were flying in formation. And essentially, I locked in, focused, had control of my state, and I went out into the jump finals and I broke my personal best in the jump final. Incredible result, all because I got into the right state, right? So what's the best state for you to perform in? Write it down. I want to know what best state is. What is the best state for you? If you were in the best state possible, what would it be that would allow you to perform literally out of your mind? Would allow you to focus, get your nerves in order, would allow you to feel like you are getting the best out of yourself, right? So write down some of the states that you think, we're going to use them later, write down some of the states that you want to tap into at will. We're going to share with you how to do that. How can you tap into the states that are going to support you to literally perform out of your mind on a regular basis? So that's my promise to you today. So is everyone still with me? Everyone still awake? Thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up if you're still with me here. We have a bit of sound problems on the back end, but it looks like we're good here and really good. So we've got Veronica here. She's like, I want to know how to guide myself and others around me effectively when I'm triggered. How to create a reflective, stable mindset. Brilliant. We'll do that for you today. Congratulations. Alyssa Barr has said here, how can I collect a team for my business group? You know, how can I create a team out of my business group? And how can I love the person who makes me angry, says Heiko. Really good one. That's an excellent outcome. Go. Alison, I learned to be confident in my best flow. So I want to learn, I want to be in a state of a growth mindset all the time, says Adam. Really great stuff. So we're going to help you to achieve that today. And I'm really glad that everyone's still with me here. And it's time to focus back in on the gift that we're going to give you here. So we're going to give you, we've got 40 minutes left in today's session. Click on the link below here and you can up and meet one of my team members, and they're going to coach you for 20 to 30 minutes for free and help you achieve your goals, just written up here, as well as overcome some of the hurdles that might be like my saying. No strings attached, nothing. We're just going to have time. We're going to give you value, and we're going to show you how you can break through and move forward. Our team will help you to do that. So let's move forward, and we're going to look at why is it important to control your state. Why is it important? It's the why power that drives the willpower. Write that down. It is the why power that drives the willpower. If you have a big enough why, you can do anything. You can achieve anything. If you have a big enough why, the how will always appear. Too many people get stuck in the how, in the details. No, if you're there, you want to get up to the why. Why do I want this? What are the reasons? What are the big, fat, juicy reasons that I want to achieve my outcome today? So let's have a look at that. Why is it important to control your emotional state? And there's two things that I want to talk about with you today. Two things. You have got to master your emotions. Otherwise, why? What is going to happen if you don't master your emotions? What is the consequences if you don't master your emotions? Why don't you write that down in that here so we can see some of the things that you think will happen if you're not going to master your emotions. If you don't get in the driver's seat, if you don't get in the driver's seat of your emotional car, and the car is driving you down the road and you're not driving it, what are the consequences of that? Other than crashing, what are some of the consequences? Write it down. So in my book, one of the chapters there is, I think it's the first chapter, is mastery of emotion. So there's a ton of juicy information in my book where you can tap into more resources and exercises. In the very first chapter, mastery of emotions. But we're going to talk a little bit about why you need to master your emotions and move forward with that. So you've got to learn to really be able to respond. We talked about reaction versus response. And reaction happens when you get triggered, something happens outside, and then boom, you just react and explode with emotion and project it, right? So that will mean that there will be certain consequences of that. Typically, you're damaging people and you're damaging yourself. What we want to do is have the ability to respond. And what that means is when something happens outside of us here, we want to be able to breathe, take responsibility, and there's really just four things that you're responsible for. And I call these your four powers. Four things that you're responsible for. The first thing is you're responsible for your thoughts. No one else. You've got 30,000 thoughts a day. Most of them are unconscious. But the conscious mind, the things that you're focusing on, you'll be aware of them. You are responsible for your own thinking. All right? Thumbs up for that. Give me a thumbs up. 2, you are responsible for your own feelings. No one else is responsible for your feelings. They're yours. Are they your feelings or are they someone else's feelings? Come on. Whose feelings are they? They're your feelings, right? So you're responsible for them. The third power that you're responsible for is your communication. You are responsible for the words, your body language, the unconscious, conscious communication. You are definitely responsible for that. And the fourth thing that you're responsible for is your behavior. No one is responsible for your behavior but you. The point is you've got to step up and own them. If you don't own them, they're going to own you. Write that down. If you don't own them, they're going to own you. Why else is it important to master your emotions? Because all behavior is dependent on your state. And your behavior creates your results. So if you don't know how to control your behavior, change your behavior, create new habits, make behavioral change within yourself, you are not going to get different results. And if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, right? So the bottom line, where the rubber hits the road, is that you have to learn how to change your behavior. And the first way to do it is by changing your state. All behavior is state dependent. So what are some good states that you can switch into at will? I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to get you to be able to step into those states at will in the right context when you really need them the most, so that you can behave in the way that you want to, so that you can achieve the outcomes that you want to. The second thing I want to talk about is being super present. Wow. I remember way back, there's a good friend of mine, his name is William Trubridge. And William is the world's best free diver. And I live in the Bahamas. William also lives in the Bahamas. He actually is down there in the Bahamas. Amazing guy. And I remember meeting him for coffee one time. Actually, he wasn't having coffee. I was having coffee, and he was drinking his water, as he does, because he's super, super disciplined. And what happened there was that he was really, I was asking him, mate, what are you focused on when you're diving deep into the ocean? And the world record is 102 meters. That's like purest form of free diving. 102 meters, that's 338 feet, something like that. Down and back on one breath. Takes him 4 minutes to go down and back. I said, what are you on, Will? He goes, mate, I'm focused times. I might be breathing surface, and my mind will say to me, this is the last breath you're ever going to take. Or I might be diving deep, and my mind will say to me, turn around, you are going to die. And I said, dude, do with that. How do you handle that? He said to me, well, I'm bored with my mind telling me all of that, but I don't pay attention to it. I said, mate, so what are you paying attention to? He said, I'm paying attention to the silence that comes up between those thoughts. And the deeper I dive into that silence, the deeper I can dive into the ocean. And in my own experience, that is exactly the truth. You can learn to switch off your mind and become present, learn to be still, be present, then performance happens naturally without you even trying. You literally perform out of your mind. So why learn to still your mind? Because we negate the negative programming. We master our thoughts and our emotions. And when our mind is still and present, it creates flow. How many people here have heard of the flow or the zone, where everything happens easily and effortlessly? Elite athletes love that place. That is the place where they want to go. And in business, if you're in the flow, you perform to your full potential. As you can see here on the slide, the flow is right up the middle. But if the job, the competencies, the requirements on the vertical column there, if the requirements are too high and the load is too high, and your skills are not so high, you move into really overwhelm, fear, and burnout. And if your skills are too high and the load is too low, you move into bore out, and boredom. Right? So in business, it's super important that the load matches your capability. And if it does, you hit the flow and you become super productive, engaged, happy, perform out of your mind, time disappears. And that's what we want to be able to support you in getting into. And we're going to be doing that at the end of this month. At the end of this month, we have a masterclass that we're going to be holding. There's going to be some information coming up to you about that masterclass. We're going to be sending it out to you later, and give you the opportunity to continue on this development journey with us in a month's time. So we're going to be diving much deeper into the tools of how to become super present, and it's all about power, presence, and performance. Essentially, we build and produce evolutionary leaders here at CCG, and we're doing that with you right now. And at the end of the month, we're going to be having an event called Evolutionary Leader, Power, Presence, and Performance, an opportunity for you to go to the next step. So the opportunity is to be here today, apply all of the juicy knowledge that we're going to share with you today, and then come and refresh again at the end of the month and take things to the level, move down the journey of becoming an evolutionary leader, one that gets out of themselves and others on a regular basis. So let's move into the juicy stuff now. We're going to go straight to the how. We're going to focus on some tools right now for you. And so now it's time to take some notes. We're also going to be doing some exercises. So time to play full out. Who's up here for playing full out today? Thumbs up if you're going to be diving in and joining in on the exercise. First one we're going to focus in on is, how do we control fear? Fear is one of the biggest challenges that people in business, when they're under pressure, are really experiencing. So we're going to bring up the three things that we're going to talk about. Fear is the first one. And so fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. And anxiety is a big issue around the world right now. And anxiety, let me give you a little tip on how you can kill anxiety in a heartbeat. How many people here have experienced anxiety where the anxiety has owned them instead of them owning it? Yep. Hands up, thumbs up in the chat. Yep, so far, thank you. And so we're going to give you a tip that can instantly kill anxiety. How would that be good for you or what? Yes, it is. Marie says yes. Overwhelming. Fear can be overwhelming. So here's the tip. Anxiety is because your mind is running you, and it's the wrong use of mind. You're minding too much or doing too much mind. So we want to learn to switch it off, or we want to learn to use it correctly instead of it using you, right? So the right way to use your mind when you start to feel anxiety, thank you, lots of thumbs up, good stuff. The right way to use mind when you're feeling anxiety is that you've got to visualize, you've got to see in your mind the things happening the way you want them to happen. Anxiety happens because you're out there in the future seeing things happen the way you don't want them to happen, right? And what you focus on is what you feel. You're focusing on what you don't want. You're focusing on things going wrong. You're focusing on the problem, and you're seeing it, feeling it that way is going to be your experience. You have to stop that right now, turn it around, and see it the way that you visualize. Visualization is a very powerful tool used in sports psychology to help athletes perform to their best. And we're going to help you to become corporate athletes right now. That's what we love to do here at CCG, is take leaders and build them into corporate athletes to bring the secret to success in professional sports, the secret to success of Olympic athletes, and we bring it to the business world. And we bring it to you right here, right now. So how many people know how to visualize? Go inside and use your mind to see it the way that you want it to be, and feel how good it feels when it is that way, right? When you do that, it feels like impossible. And you start to own it. Remember, what you focus on is what you feel, all right? Let's go to the next one. The second thing that we're going to focus on here is breath. You have got to learn to be a master of your breath. Way back then at my first World Championships, a friend of mine came up to me from Australia and he said, dude, I can see you're really stressed here. Let me give you a technique. Right? So he taught me about belly breathing. And we're going to do that right now. So let's go to the next slide. Breath is the one that links the body and the mind together. And we're going to do an exercise. So get ready. There's two ways that you can learn to relax very quickly and move out of fear and anxiety very, very quickly. The first one, I'm going to go to the second one. It's called Darth Vader breathing. In yoga, it's called pranayama breathing. And you'll breathe in the nose, up the nose. belly moves. So I'm going to turn to the side here, my hand on my belly. I'm going to breathe, watch my ears. My belly goes out, and I breathe into my chest, and then I breathe out. I make a hissing sound in the back of my throat like Darth Vader. Do you know who I am? Yeah, like that. Breathe in through your nose. Put with me. Out through your nose. One more time. In through your nose. And out through your nose. Really good. Do that 3 times. Wow, I'm in a completely different state right now. Super present with you. The mind becomes very, very still very quickly. Why is it important to switch this mind off? So that you can be at your best, so that you can perform to your best, so that you can get out of the way of yourself, so that you can perform with your mind. Right? This is the number one thing that athletes want to do, and how to switch that baby off. Pranayama breathing, Darth Vader breathing does it. Another one is tensing and holding. So you hold your breath, tense your body as tight as you can. You do this one in the office, you do it at home. You're feeling like, hold your breath, tense all your muscles for a few seconds. Breathe it out, shake it out. Stand tall, slowly, breathe deeply from your belly. Let the breath bring a deep relaxation. So those two things, tensing and holding your breath and your body for a few seconds and relax. You can do that 2 or 3 times. That'll really create relaxation. The other one is this Darth Vader breathing. Breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. Awesome. You got that? Awesome. So you want to book a free coaching session? Remember, we're going to share these tools, more tools with you as we go through. So we're going to move into the next tool that we're going to give you today is about the law of focus. The law of focus. Remember, you get what you focus on, and where attention goes, energy flows. Read. Where attention goes, write that one down. Where attention goes, energy flows. Now on the screen here today, we have Michael Phelps, the greatest Olympian of all time, won more gold medals than some countries have. As an individual and in the team, the American team, incredible swimmer who battled anxiety, battled depression, and was still able to perform incredibly. So how are we going to support you in becoming completely focused here? How are we going to support you in becoming super present? We're going to help you to learn to know the difference between internal focus and external focus. So internal focus is really great when we're thinking internally, and like, say, for example, we're planning or strategizing, or if we're playing sport like golf, we could be visualizing the ball flying through the air, or if we're wanting to go into a meeting and feel super confident, we could be visualizing going into that meeting and seeing that meeting go exactly the way that we want it and feel how good that feels, right? That's an internal focus. The next thing is the external focus. The external focus helps you to switch off mind, helps you turn that baby off and become super present. So when you go into a meeting, for example, you focus on the people in the meeting, on the presentation, and whenever you move into your head, whoa, your head, you up, and your head, you're dead, right? So bottom line is when you can focus externally, that will help you to be super present. Catch yourself, move into your head, start to think, come back, focus externally on what's happening in the room. Golfers focus on the ball, or when they're walking between shots, they focus on the trees. So this is super good for actually executing, for performing, or whenever you want to be focused and now and relaxed and in the present. Right? So I want you to think of some times that this would be useful for you. when would it be useful for you in your role, or at work, or at home, or as a leader? When would it be useful for you? Write it down, because you're aware of the times and the places that it would be helpful for you to be able to internally focus or versus external focus. When's it important for you to internally focus? Plans, strategies, visions. When is it important for you to focus externally, relax, and see and just see and observe and experience things? Write it down, and that's important because we want you to be able to take away the context of knowing when to apply this, right? It's all about knowing when to be what. When to be what. So when do I apply this? In what situation, right? Get clear. Write it down in the chat if you want. Share it with others. Really cool. So remember, we've got like to take your performance to the next level. We've got our free coaching session with our team. You can click on the link and book your time immediately with our team. I'll give you half time and no strings attached. We're just going to stay with you, support you, give you an experience of what coaching is like. And coaching is the number one methodology, the number one tool to help you move to where you want to be. Right? It's a tool, a methodology to move you into your brightest future. So as an athlete, I've always had a coach. World-class athletes are coach time, all the time, focusing on constantly and never-endingly improving. LeBron James, for example, or some of the top athletes in the world. They're always looking for that 1%. How can they increase their performance? How can they improve 1%? Coaching is what does it for. So we're going to give you a gift to help you move the needle, and move forward a couple of inches, even adjust life as it is, and how can you move forward a couple of inches and give you that gift. So let's move forward. We're going to move into the next tool that we're going to give you today. The next tool that we're going to give you support you in really getting control of your state, getting control of your ability to perform when you really need to the most. So it was the All Blacks, the New Zealand All Blacks, and they had lost in the semi-finals, the quarterfinals of the World Championships many, many times to the French. The French were the New Zealand All Blacks' nemesis. And so they realized that they were, when the pressure really came on in these moments, and the pressure really, really came on, the New Zealand team would capitulate. They would break under that pressure. And so what they did is that they decided that they were going to learn to master how to handle that pressure and be able to step up and perform when they really needed to perform. And that's like the same for you. All of us in the days, weeks, months, years to come are going to be under duress. There are going to be times when you need to step up. But if you haven't prepared for that, you may capitulate. We are moving into a very, very deep winter, an economic winter that's coming. The markets have seasons. Right now, we're moving into winter. We've come out of autumn. Summer was a little while ago, and now it's winter time for the next several years. And your opportunity is to learn to master winter as a business owner, as a business, so that you can thrive. And some of the tools that we're sharing with you today are going to help you to do that. So, like the All Blacks, you've got to prepare for the dark times that come, or prepare for adversity. And one of the ways the All Blacks did that is that they focused on the law of control. They also focused on visualizing and seeing that happen, and preparing strategies for, okay, when we're under pressure, how do we respond to that? And have a game plan for that. They also learned how to switch off the mind, because if they move into their heads when they're playing rugby, it's all over, game over, right? So they had to remain super, super present in the now and respond, be able to respond to the pressure rather than react to the pressure and capitulate. So one of the things that the All Blacks focus on, world-class athletes focus on, is they focus on what they can control. So let's have a look at that. Circle of concern versus the circle of influence or control. Many of us have a lot of concerns. And I would encourage you, we're going to do a little exercise at the end of this, but many of you have a lot of concerns where, and in the red here, you can see on the slide that the concerns are so big and we get caught up in our heads worrying about all of the concerns that are going on in our life, in work, with our colleagues, finances, relationships. All of these concerns become overwhelming. And what we have to do is we have to step into what we can influence and what we can control. Focus on that. So instead of my concerns, I'm going to park up my concerns over here and I'm going to focus on what is it that I can control. I'm going to put my attention on that. Remember, where attention goes, energy flows and it grows. And as you can see here, when you put your attention on what you can control, what you can influence, that grows and becomes so big that it suppresses or reduces the concern level, and you move out of your head and the concerns come right down, so that you're focused on what you can control. And essentially you grab control of the control stick and you put yourself back in the driver's seat because you're in control of what you focus on. Let go of your concerns. Focus on what you can control and what you can influence. Put your attention on that. Make a game plan with that and execute. That is the gift that we want to give you today. So I want you to think of some of the things that and this is an exercise that you can do when you go home, right? But write it down. I want you to write down a list of everything that you typically worry about, things that you're concerned about, things that suck your energy, that drain you, all the worries that you have. And then in another column over here, I want you to write down what it is that you can focus on, that you can control. What is it that you can really control? Normally, it's just a handful of things. I can control my emotions. I can take responsibility and be in control of my four powers: thoughts, feelings, communication, and behavior. I can control my focus. I can control space. I can control what else, you name it, and make a list of that. And then you're going to put your attention on that and pledge to focus on that daily. Write a list down, put it up on the mirror at home. You're brushing your teeth, boom, it's in front of you. Put it on your wall at work. So you get there, this is focusing on you, your attention. There's so much out there competing for your attention right now. You have to control your attention. Where attention goes, energy flows and it grows. And if you focus on what you don't want, you'll get that. If you focus on what you want, you'll get that too. All right, everyone with me here. Thumbs up in the chat if you're still with me, and we're engaged here. Really good. We've got another tool here that we're going to move forward with. I think this is the final tool for you for today. With 11 minutes left on the clock, we're going to spend a little bit of time on the law of language. We speak ourselves into being. Remember, we are human beings, not human doings. And most of us out there watching through the camera as I talk to you here today are human doings, because we are constantly doing and not taking enough time to just be human beings, right? And so many, many years ago, way back in the early 1990s, mid-1990s, I was fortunate enough to work with Dr. Deepak Chopra, and I learned about meditation, and I call it taking time to be. And so if you're always doing, you're not taking time to be, then you're out of balance. It creates this turbulence in here, and it moves you into your head. If you're in your head, you what? Let me hear it. That's right, your head. So we want to learn to still this baby, and essentially we train our neurology to calm right down. And in doing that, we become more still, and we learn here at the slide, we've got the brain is, the language is food for the brain, and what we consistently talk with ourselves about is what we create. Right? So we're constantly having a conversation, but what is the conversation that we're having with ourselves? Is it focused on what we want, positive, or are we criticizing, beating ourselves up? Are we judging ourselves? Are we judging others? Remember, when you judge others, what happens? You've got three fingers pointing back to you, one pointing at the other person, one up to the creator, right? Three fingers. So that's a principle that means what you say about others is more about you than it is about them, right? Back to you. So Muhammad Ali, I love Muhammad Ali, and I'm not going to show you the video of Muhammad Ali talking today because sound is not working at the production end, and that's good feedback for us. We're going to have to fix that next time. We have our webinar, so look out for the next step that will be happening in a month. At the end of the month, we're going to be coming together again and share more information, helping you continue journey, learn how to become an evolutionary leader, one that is in charge of their state, one that knows how to get the best out of themselves, one that's a practical psychologist, one that can learn to switch off their brain and become super present, one that owns their performance, and is a corporate athlete. I love that word, corporate athlete, or a business athlete, right? So that's our goal for you, and being all that you can be, and your goals, surviving in tough times coming. And we're going to need all the help we can get. And I've got myself, if you're out there coaching others, you better be an example of what's possible. So we're going to share with you the final gift here, which is the law of language. And Muhammad Ali is talking and being. When he was 68, he started telling himself, I am the greatest. Now, anything that starts with the word I am starts to program your identity. And your identity is the greatest force in the human psychology. Whatever your identity is real. Now, I'm going to share with you a trick around how to start programming your identity and program yourself, program your hard drive, your subconscious, part of you that's in charge of all learning, all change, and all behavior. Do you like that? How many people? Hands up, thumbs up. Right. So we're going to share with you a little trick right now on how to start to program your identity. Who is it that you want to be? If you go into if you are if identity is your reality, then who do you need to become to get the results that you want to get? Who do you need to become? So it's not about what, it's not about why, it's not about how, it's about who. Who am I becoming? And am I consciously creating that, or being created by outside influences? And so the gift that I want to give you, the last gift, is that you consciously create your reality. You consciously create your identity. You consciously hardwire your subconscious, unconscious mind by focusing on power statements. So my power statement that I have before I come on here, and I've been programming this into my identity for weeks and weeks, is I am an unstoppable server of humanity. I am an unstoppable server of humanity. That is hardwired into my hard drive. Why? Because I'm here to give and serve. And I want to light the world up and level up. And so what is it that you need to write down, starting with I am, that will help you to become the man, the woman, the person, whoever, whatever you are, you call yourself. What is it that you want to become? You need to write it down. I am, fill in the blank, right? I am a better part of me, says Andrew. Woo! Love it. That's great, Andrew. Right? What else is there? Who else would like to share up there? Write it down, but then you've got to program it. You've got to program it. Get it into the hard drive. And that is the most. How do you here know where they were when I read it out? You remember? I remember. I remember exactly where I was at. Maybe some of you out there weren't born yet. That's okay. You were in the twinkle of an eye somewhere. But bottom line is many of us, if we remember that, know where we were. But do we remember we were the week before, at the same day and same time 1 week before? No. The reason being is it's emotion. Emotion is what programs us. So what we do is we're going to put it all together now. At the end, we're going to use our physiology, we're going to use our phone, use our language, and we're going to get into a state that is going to program the hard drive and then program my identity into it, help me to become the person I want to become. Right? So how I do that is I know the I am statements, and I write that down, and then I use my physiology and I step into state, and I move into my power. So I'm like, I do this. I can give an example, and you can do this. Maybe you need to tell your family if you're going to do this at home, but I do it like this. I am an unstoppable server of humanity. Right? Emotion programmed it into your neurology, into your physiology, into your nervous system, into the hard drive. Right? What is it? I'm an unstoppable server of humanity. Right? Excellent. The far. I am masterly. Excellent. So you can use your physiology, you use your emotion, words, language. It all comes together at the end here. All these tools that we put together for you come together at the end. Right? And you do that on a regular basis. Every day for 5 minutes. Take one and do it for 5 days. Then pick the next every day for 5 minutes for 5 days. And start programming yourself. Become the evolutionary leader you were born to be. Become the person you were born to be. You have to take responsibility for that and drive that into your neurology, and then that will help you to get the results that you want. To thrive, to not survive, to thrive. That's the end of our main part of the presentation. Remember that if you want to learn to perform out of your mind, you want to learn to perform like an Olympic athlete, come and join us at our next event on the 27th, I think 27th of July, and we'll be getting information for you on that. On a free coaching team, please click on the link below. I think they're going to bring it up here again. Team, great stuff. Click on the link below. Book in immediately with our team. We're going to give you the gift of being coached, moving into the bright future that you create. Because you are your charge, creating your goals. All right, so it's left. We're going to open it up here. That's the main patient achieved. The question is, what if you apply this knowledge? What will happen if you do? Here, I want to see some of the, I want to see some of the answers here for that. So if you apply this knowledge, what will happen? And let's see, anyone out there who want to share what would happen to them if they apply it? Come on. If you don't apply it, what will happen? That's another point, right? Point number one, if you take this knowledge and you actually apply it, because if you do not, knowledge is nothing unless it's actionable. All right? And then on the other hand, if you don't apply it, what will happen? Consequences, right? There's consequences for not applying information. There's massive consequences for applying the information. And oh, look, we've got some thank yous coming up here from some people that have joined us today. That's really great. We got like 30 seconds left to go before we're going to be wrapping it up. I just really want to thank you for the opportunity to serve you today. Thank you for coming and joining us. Obviously, we couldn't do this without you. I'm so glad to have you here on LinkedIn or here YouTube. And we're really, really grateful. It's been fantastic. These are the secrets. When you apply them and take your results and your performance to the next step. So thank you very much. Come and join us again. Watch this space right here. We're going to be coming back to you live towards the end of the month. And once again, last opportunity is to click on the link, book your coaching session with our team. If you want a copy of our book, drop us an email at support@carrollconsultancy.com, and we'll send you a copy of my book, which has more information for you here. And lastly, it's just been a pleasure. I'm super grateful for you and for showing today, playing full out, and win soon. Have a good day or a great night wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.